Hello gamers and gamettes, what is going on? My name is Tanek127 and welcome back to another video. And guys, in today's video I want to talk to you all about Predecessor and Paragon the Overprime. But if you want to stay up to date on all things Predecessor and Paragon, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, especially if you want information on the console releases for either of these games. That's what I cover here on the channel. And let's go ahead and talk about today's topic. So I want to give you guys a little disclaimer before we go ahead and get into today's video. This is going to be a really raw discussion, alright? This isn't going to be some professional put together checklist comparing and contrasting every little, detail and pinpointing every little thing about these games. No. I'm just, a casual MOBA player. I was a big fan of Paragon back when Epic made the original game. I was really heated when they dropped that project for Fortnite. And I want to thank both of these studios, both the guys here, both Omida Studios and Netmarble, for making the dream come true, bringing this game back, not just to PC players, but to console players, and especially the potential of, at least one of them coming to Xbox, so it even reaches even more people than it had ever before. So, thank you to both of them. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about my opinion on which game is better. So, let's talk about it. The gameplay you're seeing in the background. This is Predecessor gameplay. Some very chill, just playing against bots and stuff like that. And Predecessor and Paragon, while they are both modeled after the same game, they're going to have differences. The differences between these two games is actually kind of night and day. And they're both excelling right now in different areas. But hands down, I'm going to get straight into the facts I want to spit in this video. And if you want the more hardcore Paragon, OG Paragon-like experience, I would say go with Predecessor. Hands down. One thing, when it comes to these two games, straight up, is Predecessor nails it in terms of gameplay. Now, one thing you guys are going to notice is Paragon's a lot more flashy. Paragon has more characters done. Paragon's a lot more, fast-paced. Now, there's a difference between these two games, and, there's a place for both of them, and they're both good MOBAs at the end of the day. They're both representative of, a game in the past. Like, just as a disclaimer, if one of these was based on Paragon and the other one was based on, just a different MOBA, just different characters, a different universe and stuff like that, both of these games would be able to exist and coincide just fine. Just so you guys know, they would just be competitors, like the way these games are going to compete with Smite, when they get here and stuff like that. So, just a heads up that both of these games are good. I'm not saying, either one is bad. But if you're looking for that OG raw Paragon experience, I would say Predecessor. And I'm going to tell you guys a little story, and I'm going to tell y'all why. When I first played Paragon for the first time, I'll never forget it. I had actually just traded my PlayStation 4 in for an Xbox One a months back. A buddy of mine was trying to get me back on the PS4 train, and Paragon was in early access on PlayStation and PC. And one thing was, if you bought early access, you got free invites to give to friends. You could invite like 4 or 5 friends to play in Paragon's early access with you. And a buddy of mine said, "Yo, if you get another PS4, I'll give you Paragon access." And the game looked cool, and I was looking for a MOBA. I was always a fan of isometric MOBAs, and Smite just was not my thing. So I was just like, you know what? All right, I'll give this Paragon game a try. I went ahead and bought another PS4. He gives me the invite. I get on Paragon, and I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I hated it. I was angry. I wasn't good at it. I sucked. I was terrible. I couldn't play. I was, just bad. I couldn't do much of anything. I learned the game and grown to love it. It was built, to be like a hardcore MOBA. It wasn't exactly, the most casual thing out there. I do find Paragon a difficult game. And I'll never forget how I played it, how I had to study, how I had to learn it, how my friends, were all jumping on me and teaching me and stuff like that, how I had eventually got my girl into it and everything. And that is the same feeling I had when I booted up Predecessor. I didn't know what was going on. I got my ass kicked and I was mad. And once I realized that, once that little bell clicked in my head, I was like, this is the game. Predecessor is the one. Now, Predecessor, you're going to notice that compared to the Paragon, the Overprime, it doesn't have as many heroes yet. It still has features fleshed out. Some of the skins are very, very basic. You know, there are still some things around like progression and stuff like that they probably should change and work on. Stuff like that we'll talk about another time when I give my first impressions of it. But you'll notice that Paragon the Overprime just seems ahead of Predecessor. And I think the reason for that is because the developers of Predecessor, their focuses are a bit more different than Netmarble when it comes to Paragon. These developers with Predecessor, I feel like they're really solely focused on gameplay, you know, optimization and stuff like that. One thing you'll notice about Predecessor is very pretty. And don't get me wrong, Paragon looks really good too. But I can tell these developers are more focused on, you know, like the internals of the game rather than, you know, just like a lot more of the flashy stuff. Like, for example, even the beta, the PlayStation 5 beta for Predecessor is cross-play with PC. You get to play with the veteran PC players who've been playing in early access for a good while. And like I said, guys, Predecessor, it just feels so smooth. One cool key difference about these games is, yes, they have all the same heroes, and you know they're going to be adding their own characters in and stuff later on, but the heroes feel different on both games. Like when I played Sparrow on Predecessor and when I played her on Paragon, she felt different on both games, and that's a pretty cool thing. You know, a lot of the abilities and stuff like that are changed. Now they're similar in their own ways. Like Sparrow, she's still a bow user. You know, she still has her AOE on both games and stuff like that. But a lot of their effects, their passives, a lot of different things they do are different on both of these games. Now, let's go ahead and talk a bit more about Paragon. Paragon seems, you know, like it's farther ahead in development. Paragon actually has another PlayStation beta coming up in a few days, or hell, it might even be here by the time you guys see this video. When I compare these two games, right, the best way I could describe it is compare PUBG and Fortnite. Predecessor is the PUBG. Okay, except, you know, it's a lot cleaner and a lot more optimized, obviously. But, you know, it's the more hardcore experience. And Paragon is the Fortnite of the two games. You know, it's the more casual one. Now, don't get me wrong, Paragon it's a MOBA. At the end of the day, you know, it's very competitive and stuff like that. But it's a lot faster pace. It's, you know, a lot more arena-like matches go a lot quicker in Paragon than they do in Predecessor. And one thing I give Paragon that Predecessor doesn't do is Paragon cares a lot more about the new player experience. Or at least, you know, from first glance, it does. Paragon's tutorial is a lot more in-depth. Paragon also, you know, does a lot more to teach you about lanes, what characters are recommended for which lanes and stuff like that. Now, a lot of this stuff at the end of the day is your choice, you know, when you play a MOBA. It depends on how you play, your play style, how you build your character, and everything like that. But Paragon goes out of its way to make sure, you know, hey, we're going to point you at least in the right direction. Predecessor gives you a little simple tutorial, you know, teaches you how the moves work and everything, and then you're on your own. Kind of how the original Paragon did things. So like I said, that's why I say, you know, Predecessor is definitely the more hardcore veteran MOBA experience. But right away, when you boot up Paragon, you're going to notice it has more characters available. There's more skins, and there's a lot more flashy. It's had more events. I think Paragon's actually even been playable longer and probably been in development longer. Paragon the Overprime, it used to have a different name before they got Netmarble bought the rights to the name Paragon. I think it was just called Overprime, if I'm not mistaken. But like I was saying, guys, both of these games are good games. But the one I would recommend if you're looking more towards, you know, the OG Paragon hardcore experience, I would definitely go with Predecessor. Like I said, at a first glance, Paragon's definitely going to look, you know, more flashy, more appealing and stuff like that. But Predecessor is definitely, you know, the one I think is probably going to shine a lot more in a competitive scene than Paragon than Paragon will. That's just my personal opinion. Both games are great. Like don't get me wrong, you know, they're both for, you know, two different types of MOBA players. Now, one thing I noticed specifically about Predecessor that I didn't quite like, which was you know, and this you can't blame the game for, you know, this is just people. But the community in Predecessor, good lord, besides, you know, people that I know personally that play Predecessor, the community in that game is not very forgiving at all. And I mean, I think that's just MOBAs in general. I used to think, you know, a lot of MMO players, you know, were very toxic when it came to, you know, hardcore things like raiding and PvP. But man, MMO players ain't got nothing on MOBA players, because holy crap. I do notice that the Paragon community for Overprime, they're a lot more forgiving than the Predecessor community. When the second I died in Predecessor, there was somebody already chewing me out in chat. Like, I literally, you know, I'll never forget. I was playing the carry. I was on the carry lane, you know, just doing my thing. Me and the guy were, you know, just holding, getting ready to push the tower. I make a little mistake. Someone kills me. There is a dude snapping on me in seconds. And, you know, this was, you know, just a first couple games experience, but it's happened to me a few times. After, you know, the time I spent playing Paragon and the time I spent playing Predecessor, I do know, you know, notice a little bit of difference in the communities. But like I said, don't let that scare you. Don't let that turn you off and everything, because, like I said, a lot of the Predecessor community, they've been playing a lot longer, so they probably don't even differentiate, you know, like who's a newer player or who's a veteran player and stuff like that. But I just noticed that Predecessor is definitely, you know, more hardcore when it comes to, you know, to certain gameplay aspects. If you're looking for, you know, something that's more beginner friendly, a bit more casual and stuff like that, I would say definitely go with Paragon. If you're looking for something, you know, that's more slower, tactical, you know, just gritty and you know, just that more like that OG experience, I would definitely say go with Predecessor. Both are great games, like I said at the beginning of the video, and the choice is ultimately up to you. But if you guys have played either one or both, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. And remember, at the end of the day, guys, this is just my personal opinion and experiences. I'm one dude on the internet. Let me know yours in the comments. Anyway, y'all enjoyed today's video. Smash that like button. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.